Hey everybody, I'm Antonio Lara,
I'm Samuel Stewart.
I'm Brian Rivera.
and this is the Drunk Drawer Podcast. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I mean, I think we should all, we're probably all going to keep bringing things to the table for, the most part of it. I think today I'm definitely feeling the thing for like games and music because I think now, especially everything's still going on, those kind of big escapes for people now. And oddly enough, it's kind of like one of the biggest things that are a bit iffy for me right now because, back when we were growing up, being a nerd wasn't really like cool. I wouldn't say everybody who's doing it is a nerd per se, but being really into stuff like that really didn't seem like it was cool, I guess. But nowadays, it's a big part of the industry.
Yeah, it wasn't before. Being a nerd wasn't cool before at all.
I definitely wasn't.
Especially when you were kids, but now it's like a trend for everyone to be a nerd now. Everyone wants to, I like Marvel. I always read the comics, but
but they never read the comics.
Yeah,
you know who did? I did.
I read all the Spider-Man comics, man. That was my thing. I was a huge Spider-Man fan. That's kind of actually how I ended up getting into Venom because I was searching for those, and then when Miles Morales started coming, I was like, what? Not only because it's a black Spider-Man, but it's because it's actually like a pretty intricate story, and actually it pertains to a lot of other people, being at that age.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing though that people are actually expressing themselves more, and that people are finding it to be okay. To actually express themselves in that manner. But I don't know, for the people that have just, started saying they did this, and that, and I've known you for however long, you're lying to yourself and everybody.
Yeah, not to be a gatekeeper or anything, because nobody likes gatekeepers, but don't pretend that you liked something for a long time if you didn't.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's just stupid. That makes you lame.
A little bit. Especially for the people that know. Because they look at you.
There are people that can tell. No, you haven't been.
Because they'll ask you a question, you'd be like,
Like last episode, I said I was always the one to like not like something until I actually watched it, and I'll be like, oh, I like this now. Harry Potter anime.
Yeah.
That's a small plug-in to,
Yeah, if you didn't watch the first episode, go fucking watch it right now.
Oh gosh, that was
a little aggressive.
I mean, could you please watch it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming from me.
Please, for the love of God, watch the first episode.
Tony's like, for the safety of your family.
Oh gosh, no.
Watch our episode.
No. I mean, our first episode, I think was pretty good. It was pretty funny. For everybody that actually watched it, thank you for you guys that watched it. It's a big help to us for getting started and everything, and everybody who subscribed, thank you more. I actually went back through and I probably actually just took this upon myself to reply to everybody that leaves comments, like it if it's something, and probably say something if it wasn't too nice. But everybody was pretty sweet. Still, thank you guys, and I hope you guys stay tuned in and watch this one too. I don't know if it's gonna be as long, and if it is as long, I'm happy it is because I think that's a good time frame because it's something you can always come back to and finish watching.
Yeah. Or just turn on in the background,
Oh yeah. Back to the game topic. I want to talk about how games nowadays are interesting.
What do you mean by that?
Because they're very multiplayer based. Like most of the content goes to multiplayer, and I think that some things kind of are, almost lacking, I guess, in a sense, in some story.
It's because of that fact. They're trying to focus more on multiplayer, which should not be the case.
And I'm not a huge fan because growing up, I didn't have any internet to connect my consoles to. So I played a lot of single player games. I played Ratchet and Clank. I played Skyrim. I played Halo all the time, but I didn't have, the multiplayer function. So I'd take and bide my time with actual good storytelling games. Like things like Skyrim, you can play that as many times as you want, as any way as you want. You could come and be the hero, or you can come back and be like, I'm just going to destroy this entire village and have a huge bounty on your head for the remainder of the game.
Entire of the game.
Yeah. That stuff was always cool to me, and I really love that stuff. So with things coming out now, I just didn't like it. Like when Fallout came out, that stuff was good. That stuff was fantastic. Fallout 4, I wouldn't say like measured up to the rest of them, but it was still a good game. It was a game to itself. Fallout 76.
No. I've heard it has gotten some updates that have brought it to be better, but
better. Yeah.
Then they raised the price of it new again. So I'm like, it's not worth $49.
No, it's not.
I'll be honest, I've never played any of the Fallout games. I've always been interested in trying them, so
It's a good
at some point I will get to the Fallout games, but
stop at 4.
Stop at 4.
Stop at 4. Stop at 4. I'm not gonna say don't try the game. I think it's a cool concept for 76 to have a multiplayer function. But everybody knows that they lacked in huge fields of what it probably could have been.
Yeah. Speaking of updating the game to be better than it was originally.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. Let's you've played No Man's Sky,
I just
correct?
started playing. Yes. The
Yeah.
tutorial on this, I died in the tutorial. And I was
I
like,
didn't even get out of the gate.
gosh.
I didn't get a tutorial because Brian and our other friend Brandon threw me in immediately, and I died in a storm. And then like 3 more times after that via Brian shooting me.
Hey, listen, it was more like 2.
It was more like 4 times probably.
He's just upset.
Anyway, I remember when that game had like everyone hyping it up. I remember when everyone was super excited for this game because, you know, they promised a lot of things. They promised multiplayer. They promised like a big like open, which it is big and open.
Yeah.
It does have that procedural generation in it, and it did have that at the beginning. But there's no true multiplayer. There's no way because there are people that tested it, right?
Yeah. And the procedurally generated stuff was lacking.
It was lacking a lot, and like it was barren, wasn't it? It was just like
pretty lackluster planets with pretty much just cut and paste, looking very similar, and like 2 environments pretty much.
So not a lot of variations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still same like hazardous plants on different planets now, but it's a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say, you know, it's our right to say, you know, what's good and bad for a game, but, you know, these are just opinions. You know, everybody has their viewpoints. I mean, like, it still is a good game. Just, you know.
At the beginning, it was incredibly disappointing, and so many people were pissed off. I remember that. I didn't get it at the beginning. Did you and Brandon? You guys got it pretty early on, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I picked it up. I'm pretty much sure day 1.
Brandon got it for free on Game Pass.
Nice. Brandon didn't install it until much later, because there was no multiplayer, so there's no point in him picking it up because I had already told him it was kind of meh. But then pretty much we gave up on it for quite a while. It was just sitting in my library.
Yeah. I remember you guys, you know, talking about it. Once multiplayer became a thing, you guys were like, you guys had tried it out and played it a little. I think I even watched you guys play it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one point kind of recently, a few months ago, where you guys started playing again, and we're like, hey, you should get No Man's Sky as well. And, you know, I was kind of debating it just because it was such a disappointment at the very beginning. But I gave it a chance. I picked it up, and it is definitely. I became addicted to it for like a month. I just didn't stop playing
Right?
It's a good game now. It is, and don't get me wrong. Like it definitely
A lot has changed.
a lot has changed. There's so much more stuff than there was originally in it, which is good. But the people who made it, they should have, you know, had that stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean,
They should have pushed the release date back until they had more stuff, even if they were planning on doing a continuously update type of game.
Well, then you run into the issue with developing games like that. Like, I get it now, or I get it more now than I did before. It's a lot of, they were running out of funding for it.
Oh, really?
So they put the game out so that people would initially buy it. And obviously people were mad because, you know, a lot of the stuff they promised wasn't in it. But doing that allowed them to get the funding they needed to fix it and get more people to, like, fine-tune it.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of games launch in beta and alpha now.
Okay.
Instead of being complete game.
But
That's fair.
Here's the thing about this is the good and bad about a multiplayer game. One, since it's a multiplayer game, there's gonna be multiple people. There's gonna be everything else. But the thing is, with the multiplayer game, there's gonna be multiple updates for it. Things are going to change regardless because it's a multiplayer game. They're gonna need new stuff. With the single player story game, things are kind of just there. But the only thing that they really fix is like small little details. Like, I don't know, like you might find a glitch in the game or something wasn't there that you didn't really notice, but the developers probably saw and they're like, we should fix this.
Right.
But the multiplayer game, they're gonna give it to you, but then they're gonna add, like you said, they have more dangerous or hazards throughout the game or something else that you can actually do. Like you were just playing Destiny earlier, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a massive game.
Yeah, it is. It really is a massive game. They keep cycling through with seasons. And that's another thing now, seasons for games, different content. I think that's actually one of the coolest things that things do, but it does get a little out of hand. I mean, it's cool when you have like holidays and stuff, the match with what's going on. That's also pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about multiplayer games or games that have a multiplayer function, that kind of loses a lot of people because it's almost as if you need somebody to play with in order to make it fun.
Yeah.
Because just doing it by yourself, it just really, it's kind of boring.
And that's the issue with a lot of multiplayer games. That's why I always prefer co-op to multiplayer.
Yes.
Because co-op, it's a full story game that you can just have a friend with. That you don't lose from the story. When you're playing a multiplayer story, you lose on the story because they're expecting you to pretty much be talking over each other, just not be really paying attention to what's going on,
right.
And you need to do a lot more digging to get the lore, rather than it being a story game that kind of lays it out for you, gives you a story that you can actually care about.
Yeah.
There's one game that I think did both pretty well. I never personally played it, but I have watched people play it before. It's called A Way Out. It's a multiplayer game about these two guys that try to break out of prison.
Oh, the prisoners. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I have played that. That is fun. That is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a really good story too.
Oh yeah.
It's a good story. It's a good co-op multiplayer game. Do you need two people to play it, or
no, you don't necessarily, but it does help because you can communicate back and forth on how to play it. But from what I remember, my friend Riley and we played through it. And I believe what he told me was, because I didn't play single player, I believe it was game shared to me.
Yeah.
You switch back and forth between the characters.
Right.
So once you finish the completed task for that point and object, you'll go back to the other character and you'll continue the story. So I was like, that's a cool way to compensate for not having somebody there.
Yeah. That game did it really well, and it's kind of a short game now compared to most other games.
Absolutely.
But that was really well done, and that game proves that you can have a great multiplayer game that can also be a single player game with the same story. Because there are tons of games that have both single player and multiplayer. They have the campaign, and then they have like a multiplayer option. Like, Call of Duty has their campaigns. Portal 2 specifically. Portal has the single player game, the single player campaign, and then the multiplayer campaign that takes place after the single player, which you don't need to play the multiplayer to get the
enjoy
stories.
Yourself.
Yeah. Which I think is another good way to do that, is to have like otherwise I remember Sly 3. Now this is kind of a throwback.
Oh, you are hitting somewhere so particular to my heart.
I was super.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, me like I'm the same way with. I love all the Sly Cooper games.
Love those games.
Like I don't see as many people talking about Sly Cooper as much as like Halo or Call of Duty.
Yeah.
How they as their like childhood game.
Yes.
Even Mario more.
I started playing 2 when I was at my friend Kevin's house a long time ago. That was, I don't remember how old I was. And I was like, wow, this game is really cool. And eventually, I think my mom ended up getting me Sly Cooper 3. Yeah, it was 3 because that's where, it was, Bentley was, he wasn't officially hurt. He was already hurt because he got hurt in 2.
Yeah, that was at the end of the second game.
That was at the end of it. And then he was in his wheelchair and they were trying to find Murray. And then they ended up getting everybody else because they had to beat. Who was it? Oh my gosh, I feel so old now trying to think
was
about
the.
this.
I don't remember his name, but it's the monkey.
Yeah,
That guy, the ape.
Oh gosh, man, I feel
That was an interesting story. I thought that was super cool.
wow.
I love. Oh, I miss the Psycho
Dimitri,
game so much.
Dimitri, the lizard guy from One.
That's one of my favorite characters.
Dimitri, he was, gosh, it was so funny, being kids and having like a group of friends or whatever that match with what you're doing. You end up saying like I'm such and such and I'm such and such. You end up playing like story or whatever. Man, wow. If I could cry right now, I would. But we're on camera.
Well, if you cry, we'll get more views.
I'm okay.
So the way I started playing Sly Cooper, I'm pretty sure we've had Sly Cooper, the first game, for as long as I can remember. I remember my sister and my cousin being into it, so like naturally I just started like, yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, my older sister used to play it, and I'd like to watch her play it. And I was so young at this point that I had no idea what I was doing.
What was happening?
Yeah.
What is this?
I thought in the
this
very beginning, in the very first level of the first Sly Cooper game, you're on a building, right? I used to jump off the building and think I'd won. That's how that's how long ago it was. But I used to always I always play the first game. We played the second game, and I remember my other cousin. I have a lot of cousins. My other cousin had the third game, and we borrowed it one time, and we were like, "Oh, we need to get this game. We need to buy it." So we bought it, and we had the whole collection on PlayStation 2. I don't know what happened to the second and the third game, but I still have my copy of the first game, and then I have the collection on PlayStation 2.
It's so funny thinking about consoles. Because now we have wireless controllers, different grips and whatnot, but then like they still come out with wired controllers, just in case you don't have, batteries for the Xbox, or you can't, your charger's broken for. Okay, charger's broken for your controller or whatnot, which is so funny. But thinking back when having the PlayStation 2 and having to plug in your controllers to play, dude, I feel. It's nostalgic, every time I plug in my controller, because back when I had it, my stepdad had one too, but he had like an extension cord for the controller so you could sit farther away from the TV. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, this dude's got all the stuff and whatnot. What? I was like, oh god.
You know what I grew up with? Grew up with the original Game Boy.
Oh, me too, man. Me
Pokemon,
too.
Pokemon Red. And that stupid little lamp you put on it.
Yeah,
so you can play it at night. Yeah. Even as a child, I went to bed at like 3 a.m.
Dude,
playing Pokemon
yes.
and Kirby's Dream Land.
I was playing Final Fantasy, man, on my original Game Boy. Nice. The Final Fantasy. Oh gosh.
Wow.
I wish I still had that.
The earliest Game Boy I had was the Game Boy Advance, which was like the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I had it on. Yeah, it was the Game Boy Advance, because that was the one that. Let me shut up. I was knocking myself in the face. Oh gosh, but man, it's so good to think about how games used to be. I will say, I will never pre-order a game again after this, because I already pre-ordered not 76 Cyberpunk 2077. I pre-ordered it. It got pushed back twice. Yes, I'm upset a little bit.
This time it was pushed back for a good reason.
This time it's pushed back for a good reason. I do agree. It does annoy me a little bit, but last time it's because they added a multiplayer function. I hope this doesn't ruin the fact that you can still play the game by itself, because that's what I was really looking forward to in Cyberpunk, is I didn't have to rely on anybody else.
I don't think it will mess it up. I think it's just more of a co-op rather than a multiplayer.
Yes, I don't. There's one there. Oh, I wouldn't say there's one game. There's a lot of games that do this. When you have somebody join your game and they're just so overpowered that they just one-shot everything.
That always was annoying to me.
Dying Light.
Yes,
yeah.
Dying Light.
Yeah.
I really hope that Cyberpunk thinks about that before they take any steps to just putting the game out there.
Because here's the thing: if you have someone join your game with them being like super overpowered compared to how you are, they're just gonna, like you said, they're just gonna one shot everything. They're gonna kill everything, every enemy, and you don't get any XP from that.
No, back when I was playing Borderlands 2, which is honestly better than Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 is good, but Borderlands 2 is better. Back when I was playing with my younger brother and I, Anir, we played it nonstop. We played that game honestly religiously, like ridiculously so. And like we didn't have all the functions that everybody else had, so we all knew all the tips, tricks, and we could still access some of the glitches, that everybody else couldn't because we didn't have online, so the game wouldn't update. But while we were playing, and I would play, and I'd be like 10 levels more than he was, and we would be a little bit too overpowered for it and whatnot. I'd grab a gun that was low leveled, so I wouldn't one shot everything, and he would still have to put in some work because I don't want to just completely obliterate somebody. And he'd be like, okay, cool, we're done with the mission, whatever,
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it. I wanna be able to actually do something.
Game that does that really well, actually, and keeps that in mind is Ghost of Tsushima.
Really?
Yeah. They added a multiplayer to it, and it's kind of like more of like a Halo firefight almost, where you defend
that's pretty cool.
different zones from oncoming enemies. Now, what's nice about it is Brandon and I are much higher level than like Jack and Mikey playing. But we don't one-shot everything.
Yes.
When we go into low-level missions, like
It like brings
some of the
you
bigger
down.
enemies, like Oni, we can't just instantly assassinate them.
Yeah.
But if we were by ourselves, we could.
Yeah.
I see. So it brings you down to their level. So
yeah, but it doesn't show that it does. So we thought we were going to like one-shot everything.
Yeah.
But we don't.
The other game that does that actually, that now since I said it, and it just popped in my head, is Borderlands 3. There's a separate mode. I forgot what it's called right off the top of my head, but you could join their game, but like everything you get is gonna be your loot, and everything they get is gonna be their loot. So they can't see it, but you could pick up. You're level 48, they're level 10. Everything enemy is gonna be for you is gonna be level 48. Everything for them is gonna be level 10.
Right.
When you shoot an enemy, and I think that was probably a cool little function that they added. And I really hope that a lot of games coming towards the future will, actually do that.
Consider that.
Yeah. No, not consider. Do it. We need to balance things out here. But back to what I was really saying from the very start of this, pre-ordering a game, I pre-ordered 76. And that broke my heart.
Oh.
Broke my heart so much. I pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077. This is the last game. So if this game sucks, I will never pre-order the game. I will never play a new game. I will continue to play the games that I enjoy with zero problems and have fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I probably still will buy a new game if it catches my interest, but I'll wait a little bit before I actually, play it, because reviews kind of ruin a game because a lot, but you have to play it for you to know. Like Last of Us. I
was just gonna bring that up actually, because I had heard stories of that, of like people pre-ordering games and being really disappointed about the game, and just like damn, I wish I would have waited for reviews to come out for it first.
You can't return it.
Yeah,
right. But Brian had convinced me to pre-order a few games, which I pre-ordered Resident Evil 3.
Sorry about that one.
And I still haven't played it yet. It's still in its wrapping too. I haven't opened it up yet because I want to play through all the Resident Evil games.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got
all the way through.
6 was my favorite.
Just play the
I like
original
6.
3.
Really?
Yeah, I like 6 a lot.
A lot of people didn't like 6. I didn't mind it personally.
I'm excited for the new one, Village.
I forgot about that. I haven't heard a lot about that, but
when it comes up, I'm gonna pre-order it.
I still haven't played 7. I really want to play 7 because that's like the horror game now.
Yeah,
they went back to horror
Just
because
scare.
for a while it evolved into action. Anyway,
which is what 6 was.
Yeah.
6 was
6 was like action horror. But I did really enjoy the sixth one, actually, personally. But going back to what I was saying, I pre-ordered Resident Evil 3, and the second game I pre-ordered was The Last of Us Part 2. Now, a lot of people had written reviews about this game before I had started playing it, and I was kind of worried for this game because actually I needed to give it a chance, first of all, because it was being review bombed by the people who had started playing it, but the people like game companies who had reviewed the game already said it was a really good game. So I was like, and like I found it kind of hard to believe that a Naughty Dog game could be that bad. So
Yeah.
I had to play it for myself. I won't say what happens in the game. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it yet. Because if you haven't played it and you have a PlayStation to play it on, buy those games and play it. The Last of Us games are so good. Even if you are reluctant to play The Last of Us Part, if you heard of what happens in The Last of Us Part 2 and you don't like that, play it anyway. It's worth giving it a chance. It's such a good game. People review bombed it because they were upset about what happened. Upset in the wrong way. I was upset at what happened in the fact that it made me sad. The story made me sad. But other people were upset at the game company for writing this particular thing into the game, which is, I think, is stupid.
That's
Because it's part of the story.
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't make it a bad story.
That's the story that they put in place. It makes a huge difference to the story and how it actually goes from that point on. And I think that some people just kind of forget that, or it's just because that's just not what they wanted. They're going to be like, this game sucks because of that reason. Another thing that goes with games in itself, like another big series, I would say, is probably Mass Effect. Have you guys played any of the Mass Effect games?
Mm-hmm.
You have? Have you? No? Okay.
No, but I heard that the ending.
The ending of, what was it, 3?
I think it was.
It's not what they expected, so they were like, no! But, I mean, I understand where people come from. That's the same type of thing.
And then Andromeda bombed.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Andromeda, my personal opinion about Andromeda is that, yeah, it's a Mass Effect game, but it's not necessarily a part of the Mass Effect series. It's a game in itself.
So like a
Completely different.
spin-off? Like a
almost.
It's a separate story from
Yeah, it's
the
a
rest
separate
of the
story
games.
from the actual game. And I was kind of
Right.
like, okay, I think it's still a pretty good game. I think it's still pretty cool. Like having to be able to drive around on the terrain, that was pretty dope.
Yep.
Having a car, upgraded it, going throughout trying to find such and such, get materials to expand, whatever. That was a pretty cool concept. Creating your colony, that was awesome. But to compare it to the Mass Effect series 1, 2, and 3, no. There's no way you can compare that at all. For many reasons. One, main character is dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. I don't know what else to tell you about
What
that.
the hell?
Yeah, right. But he's dead. So they just made another, like you said, spin-off series.
Yep.
And that was that. So it was actually pretty cool. It was pretty enjoyable, I would say. But that's just how I see it. Not everything.
Was it made by the same game company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will they ever make another one?
Probably
No.
not. No, probably not.
Probably not. After what happened?
Yes. That's said.
And I don't know. Because it's not Microsoft owned, though.
Mm-mm.
That's right. Never mind. I was going to say something about Microsoft,
It's
but never
not.
mind.
Actually, what is the game company? It's not EA, is
It's
it?
not EA.
No. Oh my god. BioWare.
It is
BioWare?
BioWare. It's BioWare.
What else do they make? The name sounds so familiar.
But
I'll look it up. I have a computer.
But,
Anthem. Oh my god.
BioWare, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Anthem.
There's
Yeah.
Never
Anthem,
played that game.
Mass Effect,
But
Dragon Age. Oh
There it is.
my gosh. Yes. Dragon Age.
Star Wars.
that's
The
another
Old
one.
Republic.
That's another one. Dragon Age.
They made Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I
Love that
will
game.
say another game like from BioWare I would say is probably Dragon Age Inquisition. I liked it. I did.
Personally, I haven't played much.
I liked it. I did like it. But that's another one. It's a game in itself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't compare it to the other ones.
Sorry, I'm looking at their website, and the last game on the list is Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Oh my god!
I've never heard of that Sonic game before.
Neither have I.
And
There
there's
is
like
a
out of
lot of
nowhere,
Sonic
a
games.
BioWare makes a Sonic game.
The
Just like
only one.
among Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Star Wars, Jade Empire, all these
The
other
last thing. The very last
Gotta
thing.
go fast.
games.
Right.
For the DS.
Yo, I actually never had a DS.
The first DS I had was DS Lite, because there's original, and then there was Lite, DSi, 3DS.
I never had any of those.
I've had
like-
3DS and on, or I'm sorry, DS Lite and on.
Game Boy Advance is rest up.
See, I'm kind of a Nintendo buff, so I have all of them.
Hey, more power to you, man. That's
Power to
A-okay.
the player.
This guy.
Give me PTSD.
Yo, that's the thing. Games are special. They really are for everybody. It doesn't matter.
There's something for everyone.
There really is. Like I said in the last podcast, you guys should check out.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when I was editing it. I was like, I'm gonna talk about games.
Right.
There's definitely a game for everyone. I know everyone that has a game that they like.
Unlike this podcast, it is for everyone. No, I'm just kidding. But we appreciate you watching. Thank you. Like and subscribe.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
But Cherokee she likes The Sims. That's pretty
What?
much the only. Yeah, that's pretty much the only game
That's a good
I've
game, though.
ever heard her.
Yeah, you can create a fun little story for
I
yourself.
feel like the people that like The Sims are the people that don't like any other game. Like typically.
I would mention.
I mean, it's still a game. That's my point. Is
Yeah,
that
I get
it's
that.
still a game.
Yeah.
Like even people who don't like video games in general.
I would mention somebody else who likes Sims, but it's not really appropriate for me to talk about them personally. But they love The Sims so much, and honestly, I was like, "Wow, you are 100% in this." They had like 16 different stories and lifestyles, but the thing is that everything they had was well freaking thought out, and I was like, "Wow, you are impressive when it comes to The Sims."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow, I would probably never get this far," and I was like, "Holy crap,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool though." You know, seeing somebody like so into something that well, it makes me happy to see somebody find something like that. You know?
Exactly.
I felt the same way about the Portal games. I feel like that's a game that people can enjoy, even if they
A lot
don't
of
like
people
most.
do enjoy the Portal games.
Yeah, Portal I think was the first ever real like PC game that I've played. I remember getting into PC. I didn't even know the PC games existed. Like I knew computer games existed because when I was a kid I had like a fucking SpongeBob game on the computer.
Yo, oh my gosh, what computer game did I have? It was, I don't know, it was like Pajama Sam or something.
I had World
You know
of
what I'm talking
Warcraft.
about?
No, I don't.
That is like
but-
such an advancement from what I just said.
I know.
But there's like what's that like game that you played in elementary school?
I don't know, because there was a lot of them.
It's
You
like
never pulled up a
it's
game of
some
Pong.
it's some like alphabet game. I don't remember. It's
Hangman.
like alphabety something.
I think Tony went to a
This
different
might
elementary
be
school than
something
us.
that honestly might be something that only I know about and like a select few other people.
But then, like you said, it's like with Sly Cooper. You know, it's just something that like certain people know
Yeah.
of. Like
that was probably a thing that I had at my private
I
school.
love Sony exclusives.
PlayStation exclusives are the reason why I buy PlayStation. Otherwise, personally, I prefer PC over any console. I am aware that it is hard to get. It's
the hardware for it.
The hardware is expensive.
Yes.
Gaming
Virus
PCs are
protection.
expensive as shit
Dude.
compared to consoles.
Yes.
But personally, I prefer mouse and keyboard. How much performance you can get out of it if you collect the right the correct hardware for
Yes,
it.
the right
PS5
piece of
is
it.
supposed to run as powerful as some gaming PCs.
Somebody did a spec actually. They did for the PS5 and then the X, what is it?
Series X.
The Series X.
Because Microsoft can't name anything.
Yeah, fucking Xbox.
Yeah.
Xbox Series X 360.
I'm waiting for it to be the Xbox
One.
O. But they actually did specs on it. I think like the specs or something supposed to be better for it. But at the same time, I was watching. I was like, dude, I'm probably gonna end up getting both of them down the line when like it comes out. And but
PS5 has ray tracing now, which is something only PC has.
Yeah.
And it's nuts.
Can you tell me? Because I've heard that term thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. What can you tell me what ray tracing is?
It's essentially more realistic lighting.
Mhm.
So you see how this water has reflection bouncing off of it?
Yeah.
The games can now render the reflections on random surfaces.
Interesting. So it's like,
because it used to be a whole task to add a reflection into a game. Like if you could do it right, like on a console, like if you could do
Yeah.
it right, it was something really impressive that took a lot of work.
yeah.
But with ray tracing, it just takes that work out of it, but makes it look 10 times better. So you get
Interesting.
reflections on surfaces that normally wouldn't have, or they would have reflections in real life, but normally wouldn't in a game environment.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
essentially just
that
making
makes
it look
sense.
more real.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've noticed that playing in some first-person games, if they didn't do it quite correctly, it would look good, but you would like look out with like your gun at like the ocean, and then the ocean would reflect your gun as if your gun were like a huge thing going like across the ocean.
Yeah.
So they're. I guess I can understand that how that would be like an incredibly difficult thing to do with not having your hand or your gun like reflect across the ocean.
Yeah.
Not being the right way. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm probably gonna get both of them. I'm one for it can look cool and stuff and whatnot. But like I already said, if the game kind of just it wasn't that good, regardless of you having whatever console, PC, that's that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I wouldn't say I wouldn't get it. I would get it because one, I can play those games. They're on the console and they can run it. But at the same time, there's always going to be that set time limit of where you can only get so many games that are going to be available for both. And plus, not everybody has the money.
Mm-hmm.
To be completely real, to be able to get these games. Don't get me wrong. You have to make the money back you just spent to make all this stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Because that's just life. That's kind of just the cycle that it is. Or, an economy like this, you get what you pay for, and you got to get that money back for what made it, so you can trade whatever you want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it should still be available for those people that that don't have it. That's why I'm hoping that a lot of the games that still come out down the road will still be available for like the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
They will for probably about a year.
Yeah. And then that's going to be cut off. Buying a new system, I'm going to wait a year, like you said, maybe like a couple months before I buy the latest one, because I know another one will come out, and I know they'll finally fix the first one.
I don't know what Sony's doing right now, because something I heard yesterday. They're not doing extra consoles in the store.
Huh.
On the 12th when the PS5 is released. They're just getting their pre-orders out physically. I mean, it's something about minimizing exposure to COVID. But it's just like, but why? Just give us. There's going to be that many people in the store anyways picking up their pre-orders. We're going to have to deal with angry people, saying,
my guess,
you should have extra consoles. Like, you can go online and do it because there's going to be that through there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it day one like you want, but
you're going to get it.
You're going to get it.
My guess would have to be that it's some business tactic. Like if they run out.
Everything's trying to switch to online right now.
Yeah.
Because it's less manpower.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's also why, a lot of consoles have to put a lot of storage in their consoles as well, which probably racks up the price a little bit, is because everyone's going to be downloading games now from, instead of just having the physical discs and switching them out.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Like when I was pre-ordering Cyberpunk, they're like, "Do you want the digital copy? Or do you want the hard copy?" I want the hard copy. 100%, I want the hard copy.
That's only an Xbox thing. Actually, didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because Sony doesn't do digital codes for games through stores.
Didn't know that.
They only do the digital through their store.
Smart move. Honestly.
I think it's so people can't get discounts.
Yeah. That would make sense.
It's a business move.
Well, I'm sure. Well, it would make them more money either way because if they go through another store,
That store
they're
gets
not-
a percentage.
yeah,
of the
they get a
cut.
percentage of the. Yeah, they get a cut of.
So
of each
it would
sale.
it would go to the store, the game developer, and Sony.
They're
But the
they're
way
cutting out the
doing it-
middleman
Exactly.
basically.
Yes.
So it just goes to the developer and Sony.
But like most definitely, like I said, I prefer a hard copy because I know I have the game.
And I like collecting cases.
Yeah, that too. And because you can lose a disc for sure, but if you are well kept and you know what all your stuff is, that's not a problem. And plus, if you have the thing that annoys me the most is that you have like a downloaded game, and I don't know if this works for PlayStation because I haven't been on there in a minute, but I have downloaded games on our hard drive, and I'll plug it into another Xbox, and if you are on another account
It's gonna
and you
format it.
click it, it will say you cannot play this game.
Yeah, because you have to reformat it to that system.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing.
And by reformatting it, it will delete the games on the thing. So
Exactly.
no
It's
point in doing it.
yeah. So it's like I have the game as it is on a hard drive, and it's yours, and you want somebody else to enjoy it, and they can't. It's kind of. It really is. It's not kind of. It is dumb.
Yeah.
It is dumb because I mean, I understand. Copying the file and placing it on there, but that's a lot of work in itself. If you have the time of day to do that, and if Microsoft hasn't caught them in the first place, it's almost the company's not paying attention, but the person obviously is scheming in a way, and they've probably been doing it before. But two sides to every coin, like I always say. There's cause and effects for everything. So it makes sense to have it, but at the same time, for the people that I guess aren't those people, it kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
Sports games. First things first.
They suck.
They do and they don't. I'm not a big fan of them because I would always rather prefer to play the actual sport because that
Right.
was me sitting down and playing it. And not my thing. But I will say, actually, this is a side note. People are like, "Yo, you want to hop on and play 2K?" Did you say BioShock?
Yeah, I'm not I haven't really played any sports. I've played FIFA before, and like racing games. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't
They're not
consider
bad.
I wouldn't consider racing games
Sport.
to be sport games because
Forza. Okay.
I don't think I've ever played a Forza game.
Racing games, I can see there being a difference because it's something that you can't just go do.
Yes.
You can't
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
race
Yeah,
a
that's
car.
true.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can, but it's not going to be the same.
I mean, but that's the
Yeah,
same
for most
concept
of
for
you,
like,
take it.
Playing NBA 2K, whatever, whichever one that comes out next, or hopping on an NFL game, it's because people can't do that. That's why they play those games, especially with everything that happened before and everybody's in a lockdown and whatnot.
I mean, I get it now. Like,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
this
yeah.
point in time, but
But like some people aren't 6'4" and
They're not,
are
like,
able
physically-
to
yeah,
physically
capable.
and
some
jump
people
down.
are 5'4",
5'4".
180 pounds.
And, they aren't able to do that. So like I get it, and like I think sports games are probably one of the biggest game changers as well because it reaches out for the people that aren't capable, or it actually creates a new idea for the people that are actually that size, that build, whatever, and gives like a new inspiration for them to actually do something. I'm like, oh, you know what? That's pretty sick. Am I gonna try it? Probably not, but I'm happy I saw it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually haven't thought
Yeah,
about that before
yeah.
now.
I dislike that there is one every year, though.
Yes.
That's
It's just a cut and a paste
Yeah.
with slightly tweaked graphics.
That does bother me.
that's that's a little bit over the top.
Yeah, it does bother me a little bit because I'm like, it's the same game every year. Yeah,
And
cool.
maybe a slightly altered roster.
Yeah, the graphics, don't get me wrong, that's pretty cool. Like I was reading something before and it said like you could actually physically see the sweat on the actual players now, like more vividly. Like they don't just look glossy. You know, you can actually see like it dripping and whatnot. I was like, oh, you know, that's pretty cool advancement. But like the only thing that comes with that is, you know, you're gonna still be doing the same thing. Don't get me wrong, it's new statistics, it's new players and whatnot. Because yeah, you get new players every year too. It makes sense, but you're almost doing the same thing every time. I mean, I guess you could say that about like Call of Duty and stuff when they come out with a new game or whatnot. Yeah, it's still shoot to kill, but there's a story. There is a campaign on sports games though, which is I'm happy that that's that, but it's still the same, you know, thing you're doing.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Now, a sports game that actually did an interesting story, from what I've heard, is the newest NHL.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently, what you do off the ice affects what what happens on the ice as well.
Oh.
So like, if you say a certain thing or if you choose a certain dialogue option, it could have a positive or negative effect on how your team treats you, how much they pass to you in the on the ice and everything.
See that's
so
cool.
it's like RPG hockey.
RPG hockey.
RPG hockey. That's awesome.
Interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you for saying that. I don't know if you know other sports games do that or not. I guess in a way they do. I have seen somebody play. You know, they got a lot more bench time because they must have said or done something. You know, but I'm not 100% on this. I'm like 30 to 40 on what I know from sports games because I don't play them because obviously, like I said, I actually like to play them.
Yeah. I've only really played a FIFA game once. Yeah. The closest otherwise is Rocket League.
You said Rocket League.
And you can't go do that.
Yeah.
You can try once.
Yo, those Rocket League memes that are like out are hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. A car's coming in and just the Rocket League logo pops up and it's like the ball in front of the car and it's like actually an accident. I'm like, not okay, but it's still kind of funny. Oh, I should be laughing.
See, when I'm playing a game, I don't play it to do something that I could do in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I'm not gonna play any sports games. Like, no, I'm gonna go play, Destiny, Skyrim, where I can fight dragons or aliens.
Right.
Do what something that'll probably never happen.
Yeah.
An escape from reality.
Exactly.
That big. I don't know if it's a huge thing now or if it's still like a huge thing that games are addicting. I do agree they are a little addicting. But that's kind of just the mentality of the player and not just the observant view of the person, I would say parent, guardian, or whatever.
If you try hard enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But that being said, people are saying games cause violence and hatred and whatnot. My personal experience is, you guys both know me, and for the people that watch this, they know me. I'm not a violent person. I'm not. I try to avoid violence. I try to make sure everything goes easy. I try to compromise for whatever's happening. Don't get me wrong. When I play a video game, I go all out. I don't care. I don't yell or whatever, but I'll be in the game. People are. Yeah. I'm shooting. People are dying. Things are being slain. I'm at it. I'm all into it. But you see me and I go out through the day. I don't do none of that. I'm not saying it's in the back of my mind like, oh wow, I really wish I could. No. First of all, that's kind of why games exist. Is for like you said, things that you can't do.
It's a de-stress.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's ridiculous when people are just like, well, since they saw this on a video game, they're gonna do it in real life. No, don't get me wrong. Kids that are young playing GTA, God knows why.
There's a reason there's a rating on the games.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's a reason why there's ratings, and plus the thing is that it's a popular game, and some parents aren't paying attention. I'm not judging the parents that do it, but be careful when you give games like that to your kids, because yes, it does have some negative influence, things that you should be watching for, but at the same time, I don't really think your kid's gonna grab a gun and go shoot up a place.
Mm-hmm. And if they do, they most likely had the intention to do so before playing the game.
Yeah,
right. See, the reason big media outlets blame games like this though is because it's easier to blame an object than to blame the person.
Yes.
It's to give people something to be angry at rather than the real reason they should be angry.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can't really say that somebody had a mental problem either, because that is like a secondary go-to, saying, oh, they're already, having something happen in the past, they're mentally unstable and whatnot.
Some people just snap.
Yeah, some people just have had enough, and that's real. Like, I really don't get. I get pissed off. I really do. But I can control it. It's very rare for me to get angry. Very rare. But when it happens, you
won't like him when he's angry.
But when it happens, you'll know. But that's the thing, people just have it and they do something about it. You can't, but you shouldn't blame the de-stressors that are around them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because most games are,
because one reason why I really like to play GTA and Mortal Kombat and all that other stuff is, like we were saying this whole time, you can't do that in real life, and it's fun to see that in a video game.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, nobody would do that in real life. If that were to happen in front of somebody in real life, they would be horrified.
Yes.
They would be like absolutely mortified that all this stuff is happening in
Dude,
front of them.
if somebody on the street pulled a Mortal Kombat move just randomly, I don't even think I'd be scared. I think I'd be more impressed because some of that shit they do, it's like
uppercutting somebody's spine out of their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, up, down, spin, crouch, back, left, right.
Yeah, they're doing the finisher in the middle of the street.
All you hear is fatality in the distance. You're like, wait a minute.
Wait.
Oh gosh.
I think
those are the best things ever. I love the Scorpion one. He pulled it and hugged the teddy bear. I was like, you know what? That's dope. That's dope.
Personally, though, I think that violence stems from video games is a very outdated argument.
Yes.
Because
it is, but they're still using it.
Yeah, it was a thing when Mortal Kombat and Doom came out.
Yes,
especially originally. Yeah, especially originally,
you're literally fighting demons with guns and whatnot. Demons. Oh, never mind.
That's one of my favorite memes I've seen going around. It's like me playing Doom with my 99-year-old very Catholic grandma, and it's this little old lady wrapped in a blanket saying, "Die sinners."
That's funny. That's pretty. That's another thing. Go ahead and actually finish what you're talking about, because I think.
Well, what I was gonna say was it's a very outdated argument, because I can see why people would be cautious about that back then, when you didn't know how that could affect your child. But 20 years later, 30 years later, actually, where's all the violent people? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of violent people in the world.
Yes, that's true.
But it's not going up significantly because of video games.
Mm-mm.
People, there have been studies that show that people don't get violence. There have been studies that showed that violence does not stem from video games. That's what I was trying to say.
I mean, I understand. What we're being said. We're not scientists. We don't know, but we are gamers, so that's what we know. And for us talking to the other gaming community, it's we all know, and it's almost offensive to us
to imply that we're gonna go shoot up a school or something.
Yes, that's it's stupid. It's honestly really stupid. But at the same time, games don't just have violence. There are many games out there that just have completely different topics. There's
right.
And
Minecraft,
somewhere you make your own topics.
It's seriously, games sometimes encourage creativity. Minecraft is one of the biggest things. If anybody has watched a single Minecraft video, wow, cool, it's a silly little game. No, people build entire cities.
I remember when I first found out about Minecraft, I didn't know what it was, obviously, when I first found out about it. Yeah. But it was through an episode of Mad, the Cartoon Network Mad.
Of all things.
Yeah, and I was like, because I know, when I was a kid, even then, I was like, these are all parodies of things. They showed a game that I was like, well, I've never heard of this. I want to look it up. And I think that's where, I started looking up YouTube, videos of people playing the game. I thought that was really interesting. That was also one of my first games I got on PC. I think that's probably what got me into playing PC. And I found Steam, and then that's when I found, Portal, Half-Life, Left 4 Dead 2. That's a big game.
Oh,
Left 4 Dead 2.
That's
Left 4 Dead
yeah.
just in general, man. Left 4 Dead is the game. I would say it's one of the original zombie games that are out there. That game took off in the right direction.
Yeah, that game barely has a story. It has a story, but it just barely has a story. It's mostly gameplay.
Survive.
I enjoyed it so much. I got both the first and the second game because I didn't know you could play the first game maps in the second game. But I remember playing online with random people and talking to them through my headset. I remember having a good time with random people that I didn't know. That was a time in my life where it's probably the highlight of video games for me. When I got into PC and I did the same thing on PlayStation as well. I used to play Fat Princess with random people. And just talk to random people. Fat Princess is a very violent game, and look at me. I'm not killing anyone.
That was a bold statement.
That was very.
That was a bold statement, but you are correct. Whoa, whoa.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
This is a joke.
Just a joke.
Oh gosh, but yeah, stuff like that. You can't say that somebody's going to be something if you've never played it and you've never met somebody who has officially done something about it or done something because of video games.
Right. And you might argue that you've heard stories of people saying they've done things because of video games.
It's a rumor.
But that is one in like 10 million.
Yeah.
Even more. That's like 1 in a billion probably.
It's not probable.
Oh. Because if they genuinely have, that's a very low chance. But then there's also the chance that they are just saying that to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not even just video games that are like get ridiculed for that. A lot of tabletop games get some backlash as well. Like
tabletop
big
games,
ones like D&D.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gets a lot of just ridicule, especially like people just not understanding the people who play it.
Yes, that is a big thing.
That was a big thing about movies too, wasn't it? For a long time.
Yeah.
Violence in movies.
Yep.
Yeah, it incites violence when it doesn't.
And a lot of it now, it's not even like, oh, it's because people are violent. No, now it's more like PC. People are just trying to be politically correct and everything. And personally, and this might sound a little bit out there, but honestly, I think political correctness is ruining modern day media.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Just because, it takes away from, there's a lot of good comedy out there that's just not politically correct. Like, all of the Mel Brooks movies. Now, those are all amazing movies, but would they ever exist in this today's media? No, not at all. And a lot of people are trying to get some of them banned from certain places. I'm like, no, just let them go. Let them be what they were. They are comedic masterpieces.
Yes. And
that if you get something like that banned, that's contradicting the First Amendment too, freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. It's good to be politically correct where you need to be, but if something is made for comedy, made for satire, and people know that it's it's
a joke.
It's a joke. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. If you try to take away stuff from that's where things just start to get all messy, and you don't. That's just so. Yeah, I completely agree with you on how you explain that. At first, I was gonna say I don't know. I both agree and disagree, but the way you explained it, yes, I do agree with you that.
I mean, saying that back when you're saying things are comedic, they are for a reason. I will say things that. If you're a comedian, which kind of everything that happens nowadays kind of hinders comedians' jobs and whatnot, but they still do it. And thankfully, they do it because it's funny. That's their job. That's literally their job. And I'm not a comedian. Could I be? No. But you know, it's what they do. They poke fun at things because, you know, they find, you know, it's funny. Don't get me wrong, for the people that aren't comedians, not saying you shouldn't make jokes, but jokes you don't normally mean it, you know, it's kind of the point of a joke. You know, you should never purposely target something, someone, just because that's the way you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody has a right to how they feel. But you shouldn't be kicking somebody in the balls just because you don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the biggest things for me. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you done. You cool with me, whatever. We got lives.
Yeah,
Live 'em.
that's the same thing. I feel if about people who are disowning their friends because they don't share the same political opinion.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know that one.
Yeah. You know, I have your own opinion about politics. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you like Trump. I don't care if you like Biden. If you're my friend, you're my friend.
Yes.
If you're gonna disown somebody for liking some other for being on the opposite side of the political spectrum,
For liking somebody that you don't even know.
exactly. I mean, if you're someone that is gonna disown, if you're one of my friends and you're someone that does that, even if we are on the same side of the political spectrum, you can just stop being my friend right now. You can just step off right now, because I don't want to be friends with anyone who's gonna disown someone just because of an opinion.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous to me.
Mm-hmm.
That blows my mind.
There's not really much I can say about that. You know, I'm like I said, I'm always the middle person. If that's how you feel like you should disown somebody because of that reason. All right, that's fine with me. Really doesn't change, you know, what I have to do or what's going on in my life, you know, because I still have to do what I have to do. I respect what you have to say. I will not fight you on it. If that's how you feel, I understand. So I will go about my day, and so should you. Just know that if this is your choice, there's a cause and effect for everything. Because of your choice for disowning somebody, somebody else will see that and think that you must think that you're better than somebody just because you made an executive decision just based on somebody's opinion. Don't get me wrong. Some people say things that are wrong or do things that are wrong. So if they have a 100% justifiable reason to unfriend you, then I understand.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you hear about what they've done, from this doesn't matter what it is. If you've heard what they have done from somebody else and you've never asked the person what exactly happened, I don't think that you really have the right to say that they are a bad person or what they did is wrong unless you can get both sides of the story, and then you can make the decision for yourself.
That's a lot of high school stuff right there.
Mm.
That is a high school state of mind, because I've seen that happen so many times with people in high school. When I was in high school, I've seen it everywhere where someone will say something about their old friend that they used to hang out with or whatever. Somebody said something about this, and that person would hear about it and get mad and retaliate. When in reality, you know, you don't actually know if that person said anything about you. And even if they did, who cares? Who cares? Just let them do whatever they want to do. If it affects you, then, you know, obviously take it somewhere where don't take the matter upon yourself to fix it. Don't retaliate.
Yes.
You're fueling an unneeded fire.
If it's something that is affecting your daily life, you need to bring it somewhere where it can be handled properly.
Yes.
Do not take it upon yourself to retaliate, because that's just going to make everything so much worse. I saw that everywhere in high school, and it sucks to see that.
The worst part is that, yeah, it happens in high school, but the thing is, two things. One, if it happens in high school, it honestly ruins the phase that you go through high school, because normally in your high school, you're going to see the person again, no matter what, because it's school. You're all going to be compacted into one confined area. But it doesn't stop there. It actually happens all the time in the workplace, no matter where you work. It does. I've seen that happen where I work plenty of times, and it's honestly ridiculous because people won't confront each other just because of that. Where I work and the space I work, we're all friends with each other. We're all cool with each other, no matter what. We say how we feel with each other. Don't get me wrong. We snicker and laugh about somebody, and they say, "What'd you say?" We tell them because that's just how things should be in the world. But at the same time, I've heard people on the belt saying, since they work slow, they don't do their job and whatnot. I have gone out of my way and actually have said something to the person that's working slow and be like, "Hey, do you need some help? If you can, I'll help you, because you're slowing everybody else down. Or you're not doing your job properly and you're getting in the way of everybody else from doing what they have to do."
Yeah.
Because
if you don't confront it, it's not going to get fixed.
Yeah, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. Don't get me wrong. Like you said before, don't take it upon yourself. I have a habit of taking it upon myself. I won't lie. It's a terrible thing that I do. But, there is some things that you can do within your power. I was working within my job parameters to actually do something, and I did, and things started to work better, and now they do work better. Some person saw an example, and then now they do that. So I think sometimes, things just need like a certain example for them to actually, work and happen.
Yeah. But that's why I said specifically, take it upon yourself to retaliate.
Yes.
Yeah, because there are obviously things that you can do that don't, mess everything up, that can have a positive effect. Because I've done the same thing at, my places of work. If somebody was lacking, and I knew I could help pick up the slack, I would do that. I would help them out so we could all get this, stuff done. And people would say, "Hey, that's their job." And I'm like, "Okay, I know, but it looks like they need help.
Slowing everybody else
They're
down.
slowing everyone else down. I'm going to help them so we can get this stuff done."
You're not going to do their job for them, but you're going to help and assist and make sure it works.
Exactly.
I've had a number of times people saying, "Well, you shouldn't be doing somebody else's job." I wasn't doing somebody else's job. I was helping them get their job done.
That's the thing with a lot of people nowadays, and people might get butthurt with me saying this, but everyone likes to complain. Nobody likes to do anything about it.
Yes.
That's a big thing, especially with what's going on right now in the world.
It's funny.
Everyone's a critic, but nobody takes action.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen. My parents asked me this, my friends asked me this, and I'd be like, "Yo, such and such is going on. I gotta go into work and yada yada yada." I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you what I have to do because I have to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it sucks or whatever. I'm saying no. I have to go into work. Yeah. Okay. Are you busy? No. I have to go into work. I have to do chores. I have to do groceries. So I'm like, man, that must suck. Not really. Just I have to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
Gotta get done.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta do it.
Yeah. Right? Somebody's gotta. Shoot. Whatever. But yeah, it's funny how we really got into like a really deep, sensitive topic here.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining.
I remember.
Think it's great content.
No, but I agree. Like I was just thinking about how we were just talking about how cool video games were,
and it was just like,
yeah. I do want to start doing games on this channel, though. I think that would be really fun with all
of us, and for other people to enjoy and laugh with us, and actually, get some different ideas.
It's good to get some variety in there as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of spice in the fire.
Actually, a few days ago, we were playing Mario Kart on the Switch.
I want to flip this table.
If you're gonna flip it towards Tony.
Gosh.
Mario Kart is one of the few games that I am exceptionally good at. I'm good at Mario Kart and I'm good at Guitar Hero. Those are the two games that I think I'm super good at.
I have the worst luck in Mario Kart, no matter what.
And it's me.
Yeah, it's Brian. Brian is the worst luck.
Out of all the games,
the worst luck.
out of all of the races that we played, I don't even know. I didn't count, obviously. But
I beat Tony once in a race.
he beat me once. The first race I got 4th place. The second
boo-hoo.
race that I lost. No, look. The rest of them I got 1st place.
Stupid. Stupid.
I will say that I do have. There are a lot of really good people that play online, so sometimes I'll play online, so I don't get 1st place all the time.
Games don't make people violent, but when I play Mario Kart against Tony, I want to get violent.
It's the people in the room that wants to light the fire, and I'm gonna throw fuel on it. Gosh, hate Mario Kart. I hate myself when I play Mario Kart. It's a fantastic game. I just suck.
It's in my bag.
But Brian is the same way with fighting games. He is so fucking good at fighting games.
I want to flip this table again.
No, like I am reluctant to play Mortal Kombat with Brian because I know he's gonna whoop my ass every time we play.
I will say, no matter what, I may suck at a game. I'll play with you on it. I may suck entirely, but I will try so very hard to beat you. I don't care if you demolish me. I will try, and I'll beat you once, and I'll be satisfied. That is the only thing. I don't care if I have to cheat. I don't care if to.
That's how I am with Brian in fighting games. Like
I don't care if to slap the controller out of your hand. I still lose, but I will try. We'll try so hard to win.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I can beat Brian in a fighting game every once in a while if he's holding back like 50% at least.
If I hit random character and don't get somebody I normally play.
Okay, let's ask a question. How many playable people that you play on Mortal Kombat do you suck at?
3.
Oh my
about
God.
what percentage? So like
3. He said 3.
3 out of how many?
How many are in 10? I don't know.
That's basically 30%.
Are you gonna say like 30?
30%.
About 30%.
Yeah.
The point is,
you're too good at the game, and we suck. Gosh.
Oh, buddy.
Y'all just made me upset.
Speaking of fighting games, a fighting game that a lot of people I don't think know about is, or maybe they do know about it, but it just bombed, is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Basically, that's Super Smash Bros, but with PlayStation exclusive characters. Yeah. I don't remember why we got that game. We just kind of had it at one point. That's how like most of the early games. Like we just kind of had Sly Cooper and we just kind of had Guitar Hero. Yeah.
Somebody wanted it. Somebody wanted it.
I think it was like my parents thought like that looked like a fun game for us and got it at one point. And I have played it with Brian and some of our other friends, and
okay, I've been just staring at this. I don't want to do this.
But we've had some fun times. There's if you play as Nathan Drake, they have like they're like 3 levels of supers. I think it's his lowest one where he throws a propane tank and shoots it. But the problem with him doing that is he gives a warning before he actually does it. So it's really easy for people to dodge that. He'll be like, "Watch out for this!" And that was like one of our jokes that we had.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's fun though. You know, there's games like that just create a memory for everybody.
I love like horrible games. The idea of like playing horrible games with your friends.
Oh yeah.
There's a game that I do want to play on the on YouTube, I guess. Not necessarily. Yes, Unturned, but that's not what I was thinking of. There's a game Grumps played it, but there's a game called Chicken in the Darkness. What? I don't know if so I think it's a Korean game. It's a Korean like horror game. And I think it's about some like kids in this dorm trying to get some chicken from the kitchen at night, and it's like it's so weird. Like you just have to see it to understand what kind of game it is.
Because you said Chicken in the Darkness, I'm thinking like we're a chicken and it's dark and
It's such a weird thing. Chicken in the darkness. Just
That's about as far as I got when I was thinking about it.
That's essentially what it is, though.
All right, cool. Well,
Trying to get some chicken in the darkness.
that's back to what we were saying. We're trying to expand the channel and we have some fun.
Yeah, I definitely do want to do some skits too.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's a really outdated YouTube thing.
Oh, but
YouTube
that's
trend.
That's
but
that's my thing. I think it's funny because seeing your channel, it's a lot more funny. It's a lot more gimmick. But the thing is, how I want to do mine. I want to do I want to be funny, but I kind of want to be somewhat serious. You know what I mean? We take more like a serious role because there's a lot of things out there that on YouTube that are supposed to poke fun at things. They're supposed to be funny.
satirical.
I want things to be more serious, almost I wouldn't say a movie, but a tiny little series. What's that game one that they did? What is it? It's like the gaming high school. What is that?
Oh,
Gaming high school?
about?
Yeah,
I can't remember
yeah.
What it is?
Oh my god.
What are you talking?
The guy gets a scholarship. He goes to this gaming high school, and it's a huge series, like a huge series. But I remember in the opening scene, the guy was literally there playing some shooter game, but he was actually there, and they got caught behind 2 board pieces, but his keyboard got stuck, so the firing button was still going off. The gun was just shooting and whatnot. So he hid behind the wall and he threw the gun. The gun kept firing up. I'm like, yo, that's kind of sick. I was like, that's smart. That's the way to beat the system. And he won or whatever, but the guy lost. Not the main character. The other guy lost and he got kicked from school. And I was like, oh my god.
Oh, no.
I was like, that's intense. But I want to do something like that eventually. Get that serious. I'm gonna need a better camera. I'm gonna need a better camera.
Eventually on this channel, I want to do maybe just a solo thing, me playing through maybe Skyrim or something.
Yeah.
Right, that'd be sick. You playing Skyrim? I'm already watching it. I don't care. So thank you guys for tuning into Drunk Drawer. It's great that you guys came back to listen and have made it this far. We really do appreciate it. For everybody that has subscribed, thank you. For everybody who comes back regularly, thank you. And that's it from us.
We'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Peace out. Bye-bye. Bye. Just keep saying bye a lot.
Bye.
So,
Yeah,
I can,
bye.
so I can
Time.
fade it out. I'll
Yeah.
fade it out.
Yeah.
Keep
well,
saying
yeah,
bye.
say bye.